I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, April the 8th, 2016. A Palestinian man was arrested today in Jerusalem after being found in possession of a large knife. Israel police arrested the 25-year-old outside Jerusalem's Damascus Gate. He was said to be a resident of the West Bank who was in Israel illegally. Police said that during questioning, the man admitted he had bought the knife and come to the Old City in order to carry out a stabbing attack on Israelis. Earlier today, an improvised explosive device was detonated on Israel's border with Gaza. No damage or injury was caused. The IDF said that the IED exploded near a military engineering vehicle that was operating in the area. Palestinian Authority officials have begun passing around a draft resolution at the United Nations Security Council condemning Israeli construction in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said yesterday that the move distances peace efforts. Netanyahu said PA President Mahmoud Abbas is, quote, taking a step that will push negotiations further away. The only way to advance peace is by direct negotiations, and Abbas, Netanyahu said, is avoiding this. Israeli ambassador to the UN, Dani Danon, said the PA must understand that there are no shortcuts. The only path to moving negotiations forward begins with denouncing terrorism and stopping incitement, and ends with direct negotiations between the sides. Abbas is set to visit the United Nations later this month, and it is believed that he will use that time to officially present the resolution for a vote. The Anti-Defamation League yesterday welcomed a clarification by presidential candidate Senator Bernie Sanders for his misstatement about Palestinian casualties during the 2014 conflict between Israel and the terror group Hamas in Gaza. As we reported to you yesterday, Sanders, during an interview with the New York Daily News, greatly overestimated the number of Palestinian civilians killed in the conflict. Sanders had said, "My recollection is over 10,000 innocent people were killed in Gaza." After speaking on the phone to Sanders, ADL CEO Jonathan Greenblatt said the senator assured me that he did not mean his remarks to be a definitive statement and that he would make every effort to set the record straight. Greenblatt said the senator's responsiveness was very much appreciated, especially when there are many false reports accusing Israel of using disproportionate force as it defends itself. The American Jewish Committee also welcomed Sanders' correction, but at the same time called on the senator to clarify his criticism in that same interview of Israel's response to the incessant rocket fire from Gaza during the conflict in 2014. AJC CEO David Harris said Senator Sanders, in repeatedly calling Israel's actions in Gaza indiscriminate, has leveled a serious charge against Israel. Harris said this accusation flies in the face of everything we know, and military leaders around the world have testified about Israel's extraordinary care in fighting terrorists embedded in civilian populations, noting how Hamas deliberately used the civilian population in Gaza as human shields and how the IDF did everything in its power to avoid those civilians. Harris said, "We look forward to Senator Sanders' clarification of this stinging and unjust accusation against Israel." And staying with the AJC, the committee condemned the actions of protesters who disrupted a speech yesterday given by Jerusalem Mayor Nir Barkat at San Francisco State University. As we reported to you, students affiliated with Students for Justice in Palestine interrupted the mayor's address with shouts of Intifada and anti-Israel slogans until security arrived at the scene. Director of AJC's San Francisco region, Sarah Persitz, said the right of freedom of speech does not include a right to disrupt others at a public meeting, calling on the leadership of the school to take appropriate action. The International Jewish Committee on Interreligious Consultations, or the IJCIC, met with the Pontifical Commission of the Holy See for Religious Relations with the Jews this week in Warsaw. Participants at the four-day event included Jewish and Catholic leaders from Europe, the Middle East, North and South America, and Australia. They addressed such issues as the refugee crisis, the rise of anti-Semitism, and the persecution of Christians in many parts of the world. Member organizations of the IJCIC include the American Jewish Committee, the Anti-Defamation League, B'nai B'rith International, the Central Conference of American Rabbis, Israel Jewish Council on Interreligious Relations, the Rabbinical Assembly of America, the Rabbinical Council of America, the Union for Reform Judaism, the Union of Orthodox Jewish Congregations of America, United Synagogue of Conservative Judaism, and the World Jewish Congress. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Friday, April the 8th. At 6 o'clock, live Shabbat services are coming up from New York City's Central Synagogue, followed at 7:30 with highlights from the Krakow Jewish Festival. At 8 o'clock, remarks from McGill professor Gil Troy at APAC 2016. And at 9, the film Faith and Fate. At 10 o'clock, remarks from Israel Ambassador to the UN Dani Danon. And at 10:30, it's Muzika with Israeli musician Moshe Ben Ari. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, April the 8th, 2016. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom.